What happens when a police raid turns into a platinum level act of protest? What if the very footage intended to investigate you became the center of your legal victory? And perhaps the biggest question of all, can a song, a music video, and a slice of lemon pound cake become one of the most compelling modern defenses of free speech in America? Welcome to Want More with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay, where we unpack the intersection of crime, law, justice, and culture. I'm Dr. Talia Moore, criminologist, educator, and researcher. And today we're diving into a case that sits at the crossroad of constitutional law, police accountability, artistic expression, and civil liberties. This is the story of Afroman, a controversial police raid and a courtroom battle that ultimately reaffirmed one of the most fundamental rights in American democracy: the freedom to criticize government power. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let's get into it. In 2022, rapper Afroman, best known for his hit Because I Got High, became the subject of a law enforcement raid at his house, his home in Ohio. Authorities suspected serious criminal activity, including drug trafficking and kidnapping. But after an extensive search of his property, tearing it up, they actually found no evidence to support those allegations. No charges were filed, no criminal case emerged, and for many, that's where this would have ended, at least that story. However, for Afroman, that was actually only the beginning. Instead of quietly moving on, he transformed his experience into art, using surveillance footage from inside his home. He actually captured them while they were in there. He created music videos, merchandise, and social media content. Most notably, the now infamous lemon pound cake video. The footage showed deputies conducting the raid, and Afroman used it to satirize, criticize, and publicly challenge law enforcement's actions. And that is where the legal battle truly began. 7 deputies from Adams County Sheriff's Office filed a civil lawsuit against Afroman. Isn't that something? They alleged defamation, invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and a host of other related claims. Their argument was pretty straightforward. Afroman had used their images, mocked them publicly, and had the audacity to profit from their likeness through his music videos and merchandise. They sought nearly $4 million in damages. $4 million. That's a lot. But beneath those claims lay a far more significant constitutional question. Where does personal offense end and protected speech begin? Can public officials sue simply because they dislike how they were being portrayed while outperforming their actual official duties? And when does satire become legally actionable, if ever? This case centered on several critical legal principles. We got defamation here, right? And defamation actually requires a false statement, a fact that harms a person's reputation. Not opinion, not parody, and definitely not satire. Afroman's defense successfully argued that his work was clearly expressive, exaggerated, and artistic. A reasonable person would not interpret his lyrics or videos as literal, factual assertions. That distinction matters. The First Amendment does not merely protect polite speech, it protects rude speech, provocative speech, critical speech, and yes, even speech that makes people feel uncomfortable. First Amendment protections. Political commentary and criticism of government officials sit at the very core of constitutional protections. When citizens critique law enforcement, especially through art, courts are often highly reluctant to impose liability. And you ask why? Well, because democracy depends on the ability to challenge the government authority without fear of punishment. Privacy and public officials, right? The deputies were acting in their official capacity during this execution of the search warrant in Afroman's home. They were not private citizens in a private setting. Not at all. They were government actors carrying out a public function. So it's important to recognize that legal distinction because it significantly reduces any expectation of privacy and how they conduct their work. In March 2026, let's fast forward, right? A jury returned a verdict in Afroman's favor. Every single claim was rejected. No liability, no damages, and definitely no $4 million payout. And why? Well, because the jury recognized that Afroman's work constituted protected expression. His songs, videos, and commentary were not factual accusations. They were artistic responses to a deeply personal and highly public government action. This was satire. This was commentary. This was constitutionally protected speech. And perhaps most importantly, this case reaffirmed a vital principle. Public officials cannot use civil litigation to silence criticism simply because that criticism is embarrassing, unflattering, or commercially successful, as in the case of Afroman. This case is about far more than one artist or one police raid. It raises profound questions about power, accountability, and who gets to control public narratives. When government agents enter a citizen's home, what rights does that citizen retain in telling their own story? Can art serve as evidence, resistance, and social commentary all at once? And what does it mean when humor becomes one of the most powerful tools for challenging an institutional authority? For criminologists, legal scholars, advocates of civil liberties, this case offers a compelling reminder that law is not merely about rules. It is about power. Who has the power? How is this power being exercised? And how can it be challenged? Afroman's victory was not simply a win for one musician. It was a win for artistic freedom. It was a win for satire. It was a win for the First Amendment. And perhaps most importantly, it was a reminder that sometimes the most effective response to state power is not silence, but a microphone and a camera, and a willingness to turn lived experience into public commentary. So, what do you think? Where should the line be drawn between free expression and personal harm? And should public officials have a greater level of protection from ridicule or greater accountability to it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, educate, empower, and enact the changes you want to see. Want more?
Want more with Dr. Moore, the criminologist of the Bay? Follow us on Facebook at Want More, Instagram at Want More Dr. Moore, and on TikTok at Want More with Dr. Moore for more information. Be sure to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, educate, empower, and enact the changes you want to see. Want more?